Today we're doing section 4.7, percents and decimals. We're going to talk about how to change your percent to a decimal and your decimal to a percent. So I'm going to go over the process first, and then I'm going to show you a shortcut that can be applied after you understand the process. So percent means per 100. So just like when we compared or changed our fractions to percents, we're talking about the number 100. So when changing a percent to a decimal, remember that 15% is like 15 over 100, which can be written as 15 hundredths. Okay, another way to think about it is we're doing 100 or 15 divided by 100, which would also give us 15 hundredths. Now the shortcut way down here, which I'll show you now that we understand the process, and we have to understand the process, is when you divide any number by 100, what happens to the decimal point? Well, if you assume that the decimal point is behind the decimal here, or behind that number here, we just move it over 1, 2 places. Okay, so your 15% could easily just be shown by moving it over 15 places. I'm sorry, 2 places back. Oops. Okay, and then changing a decimal to a percent, we change our decimal to a fraction, 9/10. Well, we want it to be out of 100. Okay, so 9/10 is 90 hundredths, which is 90%. Or another way to think of it, you're taking 9/10 and multiplying it by 100 to get 90, which would be adding our percent sign onto it. So what happens to a decimal when you multiply any number by 100? You move it over 1, 2 places. Okay, making that 90. Adding a 0 and get 90. Okay, and remember, when you divide any number by 100, which is what we did here, what happens to the decimal point? Moved it over 1, 2 places. 1, 2 to get our 15. Okay, so we're going to write each decimal as a each percent as a decimal. So this is 8 hundredths. Well, we know 8 hundredths is 0.08, and that's our answer. Okay, 8 hundredths, 0.08. Then once again, you can think about it like this as well. Decimals behind, move it over 1, 2 places to get 0.08. 54 and 7/10%. Now this one's a little bit more complicated. Okay, so we're going to put 54 and 7/10 over the number 100. Okay, now what you're essentially doing is you're dividing that by 100. So I'm going to change this to an improper fraction. 10 times 54 is 540 plus 7. And I'm going to divide it by 100. Now when you divide by 100, it's the same thing as multiplying by 1/100th. Oops. My pen is not working again. Here we go. Okay. So you're going to get 547 thousandths. Okay. Now another way of thinking about this, and so this would be 0.547, is to change your 7/10 to a decimal. So we also know that this is 54 and 7/10. Okay. So we're going to move this decimal over 2 places, 1, 2, and we also get 547 thousandths. All right, so you can use either option. All right, either option is going to give you the correct answer. And then we have 85 and 2/10. Okay, so that's 85, 2/10, dividing that by 100. Okay, remember when you divide by 100, we're just moving that decimal point back 1, 2 places. That would be 852 thousandths. Okay, another way to think of it is I have 85 and 2/10 times 100. You want that top number to be a whole number. So I'm going to multiply both the top and the bottom by 10. And when I do that, I get 852 over 1,000. So either way, you're going to get the same answer. Okay, so now we're going to do the opposite direction. We're going to write each decimal as a percent. So once again, another way you can think about it is it's going to be 78 hundredths. Okay, and 78 hundredths is going to be 78% because we're comparing that number to 100. Okay, as we've talked about before, it's the same as multiplying by 100 as well, which is just moving your decimal point over 2 places. So either way would be a correct way to get your answer, but your explanation would have to have something more to do with the fact that you can change it to a fraction, which is out of 100, and a percent is comparing that fraction to 100. Okay, then we have 675 thousandths. Now we want out of 100, so what we can do is we can just divide by 10 to get 100 as the bottom number. So we get 100th, and this is going to give us 67 and 5 tenths. That's the number on the top being compared to 100. So we have 67 and 5 tenths percent. Okay, just like we said before, we can also show it by moving the decimal over 2 places and giving us 67.5, but don't forget to add your percent because it's going to change the problem completely. We know that 675 thousandths can't equal 67.5, but it can equal 67.5%. Okay, now this is in the 10,000 spot. So I'm doing 127 over 10,000. And like we keep saying, we want this number to be 100. So we can divide by, not by 10 this time because that would give us 1,000, by 100. 10,000 divided by 100 is 100. 127 divided by 100 would give us 1.27. So our percent would be 1.27%. Okay, another way to think about it, 127. I can move that decimal over 2 places, 1, 2. And that would give us 1.27 as well. Oops, I'm showing you the wrong direction here. Move it back over 1, 2. In your last set of questions that you're going to see is comparing percents to either whole numbers or decimals. So 50 compared to 500%. Well, we know that 500% is like 500 over 100. So if I can actually change this to a whole number, it would become a 5. 5 compared to 50, this is going to be a lot smaller than 50. So 500% is less than 50. Okay, so whether you want to change this one to a percent, or I'm sorry, a decimal, or this one to a percent, it doesn't matter. Okay, it doesn't matter at all, as long as then you're comparing the same form. Okay, as always, thanks for watching. Make sure you ask Mr. Kohling or I if you have any questions tomorrow. And I would always rewatch the parts that are a little bit more confusing so that it sinks in better, so you have a better understanding of it before you begin asking questions. Okay, thanks for watching.